G'day, welcome back to Maxi Chats. We've been away for a little bit, been travelling with the kids, but we're super pumped to be back. Back in Australia, telling Australian defence industry stories. Today's episode is a ripper. We're catching up with Dan McQuestin. He's the Bell Flight Australian Business Development Director. And I tell you what, Bell's got quite a history with Australian defence, Australian government, and Australian industry with its Hueys, Iroquois, and its supply chain. So looking forward to having a chat with Dan. We're going to pop down the road. Hey, let's get to the chopper. Dan McQuestin, welcome to Maxi Chats.
Thanks, mate. Let's have a cheers.
Yeah, let's have a cheers. Let's have a brew. We're here at Rototech 2026 on the glorious Gold Coast. It's pretty warm and nice here for early May. Dan, thanks for coming and having a yarn with us here on Maxi Chats. For our audience and viewers, it's been a few months, so we're really grateful to be back on the road and telling defence industry stories. And I know you really well. I know what your company does and its supply chain, but tell us about yourself. Tell us about Bell Helicopters and your backstory.
For sure, mate. And just thanks for having me, first of all, at this location. I mean, if you remember about this time last year, or last time Rototech was on, we had the golf day. Famous, Brendan Maxwell, closest to pin. I think we won the whole day.
We did.
And we're going to do it again this afternoon. So we're looking forward to that.
We did. And people probably wonder, where has Maxi Chats been? Well, we've been playing golf, to be frank. So we're great to be back here in a very, very comfortable location. But Dan, tell us your backstory and how you got involved in defence and defence industry.
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, with Bell, a lot of people will know Bell as Bell Helicopter. You mentioned it yourself, and that is a long tradition, you know, in creating aircraft, creating helicopters, commercial but military as well, no doubt. So Bell is now known as Bell Flight, and that's just a throw to the fact that we know that we do helicopters, but we're doing more than that these days. So it's really branded as a vertical technology kind of company. And so we went through this process of dropping the helicopter from our name, a bit controversial up front, you know, from a lot of the stalwarts at our company, but it really grew legs. They're very excited about it. And we just call ourselves Bell now. So what do I do at Bell? How did I get involved? I've been a commercial helicopter pilot, learned to fly with the Army and the Air Force early days, and then went through a commercial helicopter pilot career. And I've been at Bell for just over 10 years, which just went like a flash, really. And my role there, I'm the Business Development Director and Country Manager for new aircraft sales. So here in Australia, and I cover New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, and pretty much as many Pacific Islands as I can get to, particularly in winter.
Dan, tell us one personal, one professional, and one peculiar fact about yourself.
Yeah, okay. So I think a personal fact, our commercial production line is just outside Montreal, up in Canada. And so having been to that factory every year or so, over the last 10 years, I've begun following the Montreal Canadiens ice hockey. And for those that know a little about it or are following it, they just won through to the next round of the Stanley Cup finals. So conference finals coming up, just beat Tampa Bay. So there's a little personal sport fact since we're here on the golf course. And yeah, that was it for that one.
And what about one professional fact about yourself?
Well, I guess I mentioned that professionally, getting into Bell was through being a pilot. And I've been a professional pilot for the majority of my career. So it's really, you know, a wonderful job to get out there. You go into challenging environments. The whole thing can be an adventure. You go to remote areas and across the board in all sorts of aspects of the helicopter fraternity. And we've been doing things like aeromedical, utility training, obviously early days military. I think offshore oil and gas. I mean, you go to remote places and you get involved with some awesome people and some awesome equipment, and yeah, it's been really, really fun ride.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with the answer, and also that you got in Probably only in the first 2 minutes that you're a pilot. So good to see.
Did I tell you I also did a triathlon last year?
Oh, well done.
Yeah, because once you've done a triathlon, you can tell everyone you've done a triathlon.
Once you do a few more CrossFits and things like that. Dan, tell us 2 truths and 1 lie, please.
2 truths and 1 lie. How about, well, Carlton AFL Football Club is a great club, and I think the Carlton Football Club will get in the finals this year.
Yep.
And I love being interviewed on camera.
Yeah,
So
you do.
which one was the lie?
Well, look, Carlton's green shoots, so those green shoots will come at some point. But no, you're a loyal Blues fan. Like your loyalty there, mate. Aaron Williams or Blundstones, which one and why?
Mate, that's easy. I'm from Tassie, which is Blundstones all the way.
Whereabouts in Tassie are you from?
I'm from Launceston. Blundstones Arena, Blunston Arena is Hobart, but that's a over 100 plus year company.
What is this Lonnie north-south thing for most of our Aussie viewers? A lot of defence people come from Tasmania. I don't know if you'll be the Mayor of Tasmania one day, or our friend Phil Pike, or probably Lieutenant General Natasha Fox is more likely to be the Governor of Tasmania one day. But what is this Tassie thing?
The border, between North and South Tasmania is a real thing. We don't have another state to butt up against. Okay, New South Wales versus Queensland, New South Wales versus Victoria, Tasmania internally North versus South. It's a line in the sand. Whether it's beer, whether it's your football team, it's a real thing. But I'll take Blunston on as a Tassie outfit and a family and locally Australian-owned company. So.
Let's talk about Bell's story, Dan, because it has a rich history with Australia. Can you take us on that journey of how Bell's been involved with Australia and Australian Defence Force and defence industry?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Bell has been in Australia as long as helicopters have been in Australia, and they've also been in aviation in our military as long as we've had helicopters in our military. So really strong heritage there. I think, you've got people of my generation and further back through the decades that just grew up on Bell. You've absolutely got the Iroquois, the Huey, venerable aircraft from the Vietnam era and many other conflicts and peacekeeping missions post that, with the Royal Australian Air Force and then the Australian Army Aviation, and obviously the Bell Kiowa as well. I mean, Vietnam era as well, but then went on to become an extremely successful training aircraft for our pilots. And in the commercial industry, it's a very similar story. You've got a very reliable and rugged and well-supported aircraft that really gets its name as you're sort of like the Hilux of the helicopter world. If you need to go out bush for a long period of time, or if you need to go on exercise, or you need to go to war, that's the truck that you want. That's there for you, getting up to work every day. I certainly learned to fly helicopters on the Kiowa, and just a solid platform. Really fond memories of all those times. So,
Dan, tell us a bit about Bell's support to the Australian industry and that Australian supply chain. What are you guys doing here locally?
Yeah, so traditionally Bell in a lot of places partner with local companies. So we will have a network of certified customer service facilities, particularly in the aftermarket. Obviously, that's where the work really begins. So you can sell a helicopter, procure a helicopter for your government organisation, your military, or just yourself, but then you need to look after that aircraft. So with that footprint of local companies, we've always prided ourselves on supporting our customers close to where they are. There's well over 400 commercial helicopters in this country, and we managed to support that with a combination of local partner companies as well as supply chain hubs in Asia and beyond. And then, to support that number of helicopters and moving forward, looking to grow, we've also procured recently in the last few years Eagle Copter Maintenance, which is here and was a local company, and that's now Bell owned. So you have OEM owned footprint, and they've got locations in Queensland and New South Wales so that we can support that large fleet here, particularly when they're doing big work. So You hear at the helicopter show, we've got some firefighting helicopters here, and when that's on, they do hundreds and hundreds of hours with big machinery, and we support that.
If we're talking defence, fundamental inputs to capability, why does that matter? Why does that supply chain, having sovereign industry, Aussie jobs, Aussie knowledge transfer, why does that matter?
Yeah, 100%. There's a big shortage of engineers across the board in our industry at the moment, and having local supply with local input to getting more people up to speed, OEM trained, apprenticeships on, and then the back end of that actual supply chain and direct link back to the OEM, but locally here with local OEM footprint as well as the certified partners is really key to it. You know, you can't just support a large fleet of helicopters from over the horizon. There's too much lag in that system, and with the global supply chain as it is today, and logistics, supply chain uncertainty, you need to get closer and closer to where you're operating and make sure that that's well supported, because you can't be waiting for something that's coming from another continent, necessarily. It's as I mentioned, it's a strong heritage of Bell's, and we're very well known as that company that supports our customers, and we've been working like quadruple time over the last 2 or 3 years during this uncertain period post-COVID and moving into wars and issues in the Middle East, etc. That is it's tough out there. I won't tell you anything other than that, but we really pride ourselves on making sure that we're supporting those people and getting them in the air. That's where they do the work. Military, if you need to fly, you need to fly. Police forces, we have ambulance, we have all those really critical functions, and that's a big part of Bell.
Dan, let's stay globally. We do trek over to AUSA, and we saw Bell had some serious announcements, US Army. What's happening globally with Bell helicopters, and why does that matter to Australia?
Yeah, certainly. There's a couple of big programs we're working at the moment, and that's really exciting. So FLRAA was the Future Long Range Assault Aircraft, and you would have seen at the recent shows for the military in the US that we obviously won that program, which will be the Future Long Range Assault Aircraft replacing really that Black Hawk role for the US Army, and that's going to be a huge program. It's obviously a lot of airframes, but it's also like a technological leap, really. So you really, the tagline for that is twice as far, twice as fast. And so they've just obviously recently designated that the MV-75. It's a tilt rotor. It takes off like a helicopter, but flies like a plane. They've designed it to be in similar dimensions to the Black Hawk for that role. And they also named it at one of the recent shows too. So it's named in the US Army tradition of Native American tribes. It's the Cheyenne II. So yeah, super big program. What does it mean to Australia? I think you'll see that that moving forward, this sort of capability, a tilt rotor technology, you see here in Australia now the MV-22s are permanently located here, which are the Ospreys, and in Darwin for the MRF-D rotational force. And that tilt rotor technology gives you the ability to leap further distances, particularly in littoral environments. And that's what you'll see the MV-75 or the Cheyenne II bring to the party. It's twice as far, twice as fast. And when you're island hopping, when you're moving through the Pacific, this is a significant upgrade of capability, and it's specific to our region. Yeah.
Let's focus back on Australian defence industry. You've been in it for a long time. Who inspires you most and why?
Well, Maxi, I think it's a bit of a leading question. But mate, it's you, bud.
Oh, get out of here.
Come on.
Get out of here.
It is. I'm really impressed. I mean, we've known each other for a long time, but reconnecting on a couple of programs, in the last few years and in the industry with Bell and with the Decisive Point, it's been a pleasure. And, the fact that you are supporting really important strategic and homegrown capabilities in this country, not just through Maxi Chats, but through your strategic communications business. It's hats off to you, mate. It's excellent job, and veteran-owned business, doing it locally. It's It's well done.
Dan, I will have my belly rubbed anytime, and you're going to be on every second edition now, so it might be the Dan and Maxi show if you keep up that narrative. But no, it's actually all of our responsibility, isn't it? If we don't bloody tell our story, our defence industry story, we're going to let other people tell that story for us. We're not going to get that investment. We're not going to get that commitment funding. Anyway, I'll get off my high horse, but it's a responsibility for all of us to get out there and tell our story and make sure Aussie jobs are secured in this really an industry that has purpose. So yeah, mate, you fired me up there. Now, is it true Australian defence industry folks have no sense of humour? What's your thoughts?
Is that what sort of question is that? I don't know and I don't understand. I don't have time to answer that.
No, you don't. Here, on a serious point though, some of our viewers and listeners will not know that you're a gun footballer. A lot of Tasmanians are. ADFA Rams, you played in the ADFA Rams, Australian Defence Force Academy Rams, great footy club. Now, is it true the 1998-99 was the best amateur footy club, not only in Canberra, but possibly in Australia?
I'm sniffing another leading question. But it was a great team, and I wouldn't exactly call myself a great footballer in it. But certainly, I think if you look at the facts, the history, the records, the ACTAFL of that period, it was undoubtedly, one of the best teams in regional football in Australia at that time. I think we probably beat Cooma something like 94 points in Cooma, on the road.
Yep.
It was, some absolute stars within those teams. Defence classics and stalwarts that we still catch up with today. And that's right. You wanted me to say that you were a great player and that we won premierships. Of course,
we did win premierships. Good, yeah. And the truth is, it is quite stunning at trade shows, all those ADFA Rams getting together and the impact of in the industry, whether they're CEOs of Aussie companies or international companies. There's a great bunch of girls and guys with the ADFA Rams, and shout out to the ADFA U's as well. Okay, tough industry, we know that. It's not. It's a tough industry right now. Let's be frank about it. What is one of the toughest professional decisions you've had to make?
Well, I think it was transferring from the Air Force to the Army, mate. Right. You're entrenched in the Air Force, going to the Army. Are you popular on either side?
We'll have to ask our good friend Kieran Joyce.
I nearly joined the Navy after that because I thought, you know what, let's just do all three.
Yeah, there's a few people doing that. Kieran Joyce left the Army to go to the Air Force. Dan Turner left the Army to go to the Navy. Happens a lot. It's good to keep them in industry or uniform. Defence capabilities. If you had to be one, which one would it be and why?
Look, we touched on it. That Cheyenne II is significant, really exciting. I would love to be involved in that process. It's next generation type stuff. You've got Bell invested heavily in it up front. So digital design, future factory technology, and obviously the next iteration of our tilt rotor technology and capability. It has the potential to really shift things on the battlefield. It's going to give commanders all sorts of options, and with open architecture for ongoing development, quick to capability changes. It's super exciting, and it's real. They're bringing it forward. You would have seen those announcements at the shows. The Army wants it earlier than it first said. So you look at that Cheyenne II. It's a US Army program. It will be for a long range assault aircraft. But the ability to move that into any service and our allies across the globe, it could be US Special Forces, it could be Marines replacing attack helicopters. You can have pilots on it if you need pilots on it. You could send it as a drone if you don't need pilots on it for that particular role. The sky's the limit, pardon the pun, but exciting technology.
Dan, we appreciate Rotortech 2026 having us. AMDA, always a great crew. A lot of effort for you and your team to get here. We're about to kick off on the golf day, mate. Please hit them straight today, as I know you will, and your shoulders will be very sore carrying the rest of the team, I'm sure. But thank you for your time, and we really appreciate hearing about your journey, but also Bell Australia.
Awesome. Thanks, mate.